Hello, and welcome to the Hitchhiker's Guide to Star Trek Online. I'm Vidoka, bringing you the Undine Terradome. Within the Terradome raidisode, your team will encounter a few space battles and explore through an Undine version of Deep Space Nine complete with alien technology and freaky-looking creatures. As you zone into the system, you will be asked to examine a transmission, which Sulu will proceed to get upset about and engage you in combat. When fighting the Copycat Poseidon and Undine ships, you'll want to worry about your shields and keep an eye out for torpedoes. If you let one ship get through your shields, your hull will suffer a great amount of damage very quickly, and any torpedoes will do over 1,000 damage per tick to your hull in burning DOT even with your shields up. After the Poseidon ship flees, Undine ships will warp in, using their evasive maneuvers to escape any initial area of effects and move in on your position. Your group will want to keep their distance from each ship so that they can shoot down the basic torpedoes before anyone gets hit. If someone does get hit with a plasma torpedo, hazard emitters can be used to take off the damage over time effect. When your team finishes with the original group, a second wave will warp in, and finally the Poseidon ship will come back to be finished off. Then it's time to beam down into the heart of the Terradome. When on the ground, simply talk to the engineer and the Undine will attack. This fight will introduce you to recruits, pink alien-like creatures that like to claw and bite for DOT effects. If your team has engineers, it's an option to use the bunker kits, keeping the recruits away from you as you pin them down. Each Undine has a natural health regeneration effect, thus it's suggested you always focus fire them to take them down faster. When all the Undine are down, have every member talk to Officer Miles in the corner and receive the device for the next objective. Officer Miles explains that the Undine are disguised and have a telepathic hold on the other Federation officers on board the station. You'll need to free them using the Undine telepathic inhibitor that Miles gives you. Luckily for you, the real officers will do a hand signal every now and then. Your team will want to look for officers doing the emote of coin toss and free them with the device Miles gave you. If you scan an Undine in disguise, you'll have to fight that group, and the officers in that area will not be able to help you in the next fight. After scanning 10 areas in the main hall, whether you found Undine or Federation officers, you'll need to return to Miles for your next orders. When your team is fighting the Undine, you will want to kill the Psi Undine first, as they will heal other Undine and themselves. The commander should then come second. They will do ranged attacks and AoE cone abilities. Remember to use force field domes or melee knockback to keep recruits off of your team. Although the melee knockbacks have little effect, they can disrupt the actions of the recruits for a moment. Before you move on to the next step, make sure that your team is ready and know what is about to happen. Miles tells you that the engineers need protection as they move out to hack the security systems. If any engineers die during this, you will fail the objective and have to start from the very beginning of the ground mission. Depending on how many officers you saved, you will have some Federation officers out there to help you, which can be very key to success. When you start this escort/defense section of the mission, the engineers will rush out to the consoles throughout the main hallway. If any engineer takes damage, they will stop the hacking process and attack the Undine. Your group will want to quickly take down any Undine in front of the tunnel, leading to the main hallway to make sure that no engineer is under attack as they exit the room. While the engineers are hacking, Undine will keep coming in from the door on the west side, so keep an eye on your map for red icons indicating the Undine are nearby. A trick that can be used by a team with at least 2 engineers is to block the door from the bay using 2 cover shields side by side. This way the engineers can't leave the bay until the cover shields disappear. The one member who starts the event will have to jump and roll over top of the cover shields to get back to the group. If your group manages to save every officer in the main hallway before this fight, the fight should be very easy and you don't need this workaround. Once the engineers finish hacking all 5 consoles, the group will need to head over to a turbo lift and transport up to operations. A few groups of Undine and 2 consoles are the only things needing your attention here before you can head back down to the main level. Next, your team will head into Quark's bar. There are 3 floors in Quark's, each housing a few groups of Undine. On the 3rd floor, you'll find an Undine commander boss. The commander will constantly emit a poisonous cloud which causes damage and changes the alignment of those affected. He uses an AoE cone as well as a channeled ranged attack which hits fairly hard, so you'll want to line of sight him when he targets you with the channel. The commander also has a natural health regen like other Undine, so use simple focus fire and he won't last too long. Once Quark's bar is said and done, you will find behind the counter on the first floor that there is a door to the underground. Down below, on the second, third, and fourth floors, you will need to destroy incubators and power nodes along the way to the final boss. The first room you drop down into will have incubators and nodes along the walls. When you attack an incubator, it will start spawning guardians. 2 people should focus on the incubator while 3 people work on the guardians. Within the room, there will also be Psi and Commander Undine you will need to watch out for. Be careful about AoE abilities, because if you hit any of the incubators with them on accident, you could be in a world of trouble. When you clear the first room, there will be a door to destroy that you will see throughout the levels. Always check the map if you're not sure where the next door is, as they blend in with the surroundings. After exiting the first room, if your group makes a right up the ramp, there is an optional room with 4 containers of supplies such as hypos and shield charges. Be aware as you travel through these tunnels and rooms that there will be Undine pustules hanging from the ceilings and on the walls. If you shoot or melee one of these, they will explode into a pus cloud, just like the one the commander creates. These pus clouds can be used to hurt the Undine, but if you are in the cloud, you can accidentally hurt your own teammates with the alignment changing effect. The engineers of your team can also put cover shields in the middle of the doorways, reducing the amount of Undine able to fire on you, as well as funneling them in for better area of effect and easier focus firing. After you clear your way through the 4th floor, you'll come to the final boss room. For this fight there are 10 Sulus, 1 real, 1 a Terradome commander in disguise, and 8 fakes, all hostile to everyone. To tell which is which, if you melee or attack the real Sulu, he'll yell ARG. If you melee or attack the commander, he'll break his disguise and start fighting everyone. The commander emits a poisonous cloud just like the one from the earlier fight. Once he reaches around 50% health, the 4 consoles on the corners of the pit will become active and a timer will begin, that once completed will result in an area of effect blast, killing anyone on the top floor. The 4 consoles turn off the gas clouds to allow you to hide in the pit if you cannot be killed before the timer completes. There are a few ways to go about this fight. First is to knock Sulu away and kill any fake Sulus who come after him. Keep him away from the main area where all the other Sulus are fighting, and DPS the commander down as quick as you can. The real Sulu will attack you for a while, but he does not do much damage, and this way he is safe from harm. A second and more complex option is to knock a real Sulu and a fake Sulu into the pits below, so that they are not hurt by the commander. Next, deal with any extra Sulus and recruits as time permits. Hold the commander's attention and bring him to about 50% health. Turn off the consoles so your team can hide in the pits to avoid the AoE blast. Beware that if Sulu is even halfway up the side ramp attacking the commander, he will also be killed by the blast. Also note that a confident medic can jump into the gas cloud to change his alignment temporarily and heal the real Sulu. This can easily get the medic killed if they are not careful though. Lastly, when dealing with the multitude of Undine that spawn after all the fakes are dead, your team will want to group up on Sulu. Since Sulu is now friendly, you can heal him and place force field domes to protect everyone. It may take your group a few attempts to master this fight, and a little of it is based on luck. Remember that this instance may not be working as intended for your group, and it is still under construction for the most part by Cryptic. This has been Vidoka from the Sanctuary of Wanderhome, bringing you the guide to the Terradome.